Holito chamo ingapa hentuk himak pisama shapisa la shike anayan easy ayayan is buzzing. I want to talk about the existence we live in a facet of us being anthropomorphic, living in a 1D experience and having 3D images, and not totally yet getting to the 5D experience, and how government is keeping us back from by explaining to us what exactly is the preparation period and the new world order for the 6D experience. Um, we all know in the 90s, the men, they had problems with the women. And a lot of men, they would kind of carry on to this idea that, the red pill movement, didn't really matter to them, given the fact that they didn't see Sonya Blade fighting Scorpion. Why did Scorpion want to fight Sonya Blade? We all know why. And then, like, they didn't really understand the whole understanding of Kano and Luke Kane and how that relationship tied into Raiden, who were the son who had, and he stayed in the wheat fields, of Asia and the rice fields, basically, extracting the motherboards from the soil that were left behind from the old dynasties. Um, you have to understand something. You're going to see Shiba one day, you're going to see Goro one day, and you have to know how to defeat them. And this also goes for those of Italian heritage who see the dimensional awareness of Cooper and him, Mario fighting King Cooper trying to save Princess, and also Yoshi being alongside and trying to help Luigi. So you're going to see these things, and it's going to take you back because before you leave the 3D experiences, you're going to have to know your childhood, because when you become an adult, you're in hospice, you have to understand the fact that you're a child again. And you're going to be reminded of your past, So these things, they never leave you. Your brain is compacted to where, you have a creative thinking on your right side and left side, and then you also have, a stubborn thinking that's on majority of your left side that carries over into your right side, and you have a frontal lobe, and also you have a back compartment that leaves data to be analyzed in either faucet where it's preserved in water or liquids, and also quickly tested in senses that you're left in corn syrup, or your body is preserved in the foods that you eat up until the age that you die. So I think like this, man. You can see what I have behind me. I have the Cameroon flag, and in this Cameroon flag, you can see it on the majority of the games that were staged for Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong Adventures. You see how I look, right? I look just like Diddy Kong or Donkey Kong. This is because those existences in an anthropomorphic form really did exist, which means we were swinging from trees before the 1D existence, when everything was a plain motherboard, or what you would call the primal existence or the primal dimension, PD. You had to get the banana and pixelate in it before you can actually eat it in the 3D sense. And because you eat the bananas now, the banana is is 3D imaging. You can print a food now in these days. The technology hasn't been widely released yet. You're not going to always be farming. You're going to go to having a printer where you can print your food. And this goes along for vegan food too. They already have that stuff out in China. So people need to understand that when you're living in a 6D existence, everything's going to be completely different. You have to go through the certain dimensions to understand where you're going and where you're headed, and what is non-playable and what is playable. You have to see those things for what they are. And in some instances, you're not going to have women problems. You're not going to have insecurities or instability. You're not going to have poor awareness in most cases. 6D is, a plight above, a plane above the 5D existence, which means you're in heaven now. You're quartering off the 4 from the 5, which is low dimensional, and you're quartering off the 5 from the 6, which is high dimensional. So when you reach the 15th dimensional, this basically means that you're going to be a superior and a god of all dimensions and worlds. And this is what Raiden saw. Raiden, he was like, he didn't want to go to that realm anymore. He took what he saw and he just wanted to see people with his eyes. And if he saw you were reluctant in your survival, he would annihilate and mush on your existence, as far as, shocking you with your brainwaves that come from your universe, where you have a thunder strike that comes, ironically over your head at times, and you don't know where it comes from. That's because your higher thoughts are in worry. So when we're preparing for anything that is leaving us to think about the Hunger Games, or thinking us to think about, the way that we appear to people or the way that we look, all of this is 3-dimensional. So a lot of humans today, they're on a 6-dimensional plane already, and they're understanding. They just don't have the microcosms. This is why I collect motherboards. PlayStation 1 motherboard, PlayStation 2 motherboard, I collect them, because you have to go into those fiber optics like we used to do when we were kids, and test and see what's negative and what's positive, and kind of rewire the whole system. So when you're able to relive again, you'll remember that inside of your brain, and you'll be able to attach yourself to the fact that you created another wiring way for you to live. So you want to complete stages. You want to complete the dimensions. You don't want to skip any dimensions, because if you skip from 3D to 7D, you didn't do 4D or 5D, so that's that. So understand that, have grace with that, and I'll end off on that. And I hope you all understand what I was saying about that. So great peace. Yakoki.